Okay, well, my name's Peter Murray. I'm co-founder of New London Architecture. So in terms of Archimake, I was just really impressed when I saw the presentations and the discussions around the work, and I felt all the students did that really well. And I think to embed that in their understanding at such an early stage is so important and will be great benefit to them in their future lives, actually whatever profession they go into in the end. Exciting for children, I think, to get that excitement of creative juices, I think, is a very good thing to encourage. I thought it was just very nice seeing both what the children were doing, families sitting there in the audience, and I think obviously quite a lot of them very proud of what their offspring were showing. So I think Archimake is a great project.
So, firstly, it'd be great if you could just let us know what your work area is, your background. And as a former guest reviewer, we'd love to hear what were your main impressions of the work that you saw and the verbal presentations that you heard.
Okay, well, my name's Peter Murray. I'm co-founder of New London Architecture. New London Architecture is a centre where everyone is welcome, where we have models of what's going on in London, so people can come in off the street, members of the public, find out what's happening in development and change in the city. And then we also have a busy programme, both for professionals, but also for school children, for schools who come and visit our models. You can actually see and find out latest architectural thinking, latest projects which are going on in the capital, all sorts of aspects about the built environment. I'm also chairman of Temple Bar Trust, and we have an education program there too, and that is about drawing people into the sort of architectural profession, getting school children to understand what's going on. And so we're very pleased to work with Archimake to spread the word about the benefits of getting jobs in the architectural and construction industry, architectural profession and construction industry. So in terms of Archimake, I was just really impressed when I saw the presentations and the discussions around the work which students had done. I thought the whole model was really well set out. I thought the brief that was given to students was very good. And the presentations in the main were incredibly impressive in the way that students had understood the brief they were given, and then also the way that they carried it out. There were a number of students who were really good drafts people who could actually communicate their ideas. And to a certain extent, I think communicating your thinking is something which is really important for architects. And I felt all the students did that really well. And I think to embed that in their understanding at such an early stage is so important and will be great benefit to them in their future lives, actually whatever profession they go into in the end.
Thank you. Yeah, I totally agree. I think that that transferable skill of being able to be a good communicator is something we really enjoy seeing sort of blossom in our students. So in that respect, obviously, well, you kind of answered my next question, which was how do you think young learners benefit from, participating in Archimake? So is there anything else that you wanted to add?
Communication is obviously a very important part of it, but also I think actually just a confidence in wanting to explain your ideas to people, to be able to be given a brief, to create something which is understandable, that actually responds to the needs of the users of that building, or your even just your vision of the way that you see the world. I think those are really important and it's very exciting because it's architecture is a creative business, and I think when you see people when that light goes on, when somebody really catches hold of an idea and creates something really interesting from it. You know, even if it's looking at you know, the journey from home to school, the way that people actually then observe their environment and really get something out of studying that as a sort of part of their lives, and how you translate that into the built environment. I think it's very exciting for children. I think to get that excitement of the sort of creative juices, I think is a very good thing to encourage.
Thank you. And obviously, the work was quite varied. We had a range of children from different ages. So, did you feel like the work seemed to be sort of connecting with what you expected of children of those ages? Because I think we had children from age 7 to 14 on the day.
I think like all children, you have a variety of responses. Really, some people are very confident, and sometimes you know, more confident than their, might say, the work reflects. And then you have some people who are quite quiet and do things that are brilliant. And I think to be able to give people the sort of confidence of realizing that what they're doing actually is something that other people respond to, and to a certain extent that was our job as respondees, that we could actually look at things and give people advice and hopefully give them encouragement to carry on and move on to the next thing.
Fantastic. And now I'd like to ask you a little bit about how we kind of connect with your work. Obviously, you're very much engaged with the public and the connection and that demystifying of architecture. And I was interested to know, how does the work of Archimake relate to your professional discipline, and how valuable or useful do you think its contributions are to the industry generally?
Well, I think that it's always been a very important part of what I do to communicate. I would say the pleasure of architecture, but also the skills that people need to deliver good architecture, so that we end up with better architects and better architecture in the long run. So I think that ability to encourage people have a real interest in the topic, and you know, some people are lucky enough to be introduced to it at an early stage, and they get excited about it, and other people need to be drawn in and shown what the might say the excitement of being involved in the profession entails. So I would say that a lot of what I see my work as is as a facilitator, and so collaborating with other organizations which have similar views is really important. So I'm a great believer that we, you know, if we all work together, we'll make greater progress.
Absolutely. And the art of collaboration is very much part of sort of what Archimake tries to bring out in children as well, like group work and a sense of sharing and listening to each other as well. And I was wondering, obviously we brought together a kind of community of people in the project review which you attended. And I was wondering if there was any way in which attending the Archimake event had an impact on your work in any way, or what you've gone to do after that.
Well, I thought it was just very nice seeing uh, both what the children were doing and explaining their stuff, but the families sitting there in the audience and listening to what they do. I think obviously quite a lot of them very proud of what their offspring were showing. But I thought that the whole event had a sort of community feel to it, which I thought was very nice. And I think it was just very encouraging for those who had actually delivered something which they and their parents felt very proud.
Thank you. Yeah, I completely agree. And I love the opportunity where parents can be on the journey with the children. So they get to hear yourself and other experts in the industry being able to comment on their children's work. So then they are part of the journey for their child. It's you know, because ultimately, you know, architecture can be quite a mysterious discipline. So bringing that parent along with them is really an opportunity to take. So I think that's all my questions. But I was wondering if you've got anything that you'd like to add, or something that I might not have asked about.
Well, I think that I talked about having the parents there, and to a certain extent, and I remember Hanif, who was on the panel with me when he spoke to his parents about going into engineering. That he had to convince them that about what it was as a profession, and I think, unfortunately, from my point of view, architecture is something which a lot of people outside the profession don't really understand what it entails and what sort of jobs it involves, because it's actually, you can do lots of different things within the architectural profession, and to a certain extent, as in my case, it might say the training leads you to do other things other than just design buildings. So I think it's that role of explaining to people what it entails. We need good people in the construction industry generally, and I fear that quite often the career advice that children get at school is not really sufficient to give them a full picture of what they can get out of it. So I think that's a really important part of getting students to understand what's involved.
Absolutely. I'm glad that you pointed that out, because yes, that opportunity when we bring you in and other experts is that time to widen their understanding of what architecture is, and you did it really well on the day. So thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I think Archimake is a great project.